Book 3. The Council of the Ages. Chapter 9, Part 2. In the evening there was a knock on the door, and the three of them followed the novice. There were the mercenaries and the priests in their robes. Arian was inside the great spring. The three of them reached the height of the rest of the mercenaries. Elaban's triumph shone brightly. Arian smiled. Aris approached Agnorak and Paulana and motioned for them to retreat backwards, and only the dwarf Tanya remained next to the pond. Gosberg nudged Agnorak in his ear. "Now you're going to be amazed at what Arian is capable of." The half-orc looked at the Denka in surprise. Arian gestured for the dwarf to get into the pond with her. The dwarf was reluctant at first, but was encouraged by the rest of her companions. When the dwarf got into the pond, the rest of the priests began to sing a kind of prayer to Elaban, demanding his presence. Arian led the dwarf to where the water that touched Elaban's triumph was falling and placed it under her. With a signal he increased the flow of the waterfall, and the water began to flow strongly. The jet completely hid Tanya. Then Arian took her jewel in her hand. A blue glow flooded the room to the sound of chants. Arian with the other hand made Elaban's triumph rise while the water continued to fall on the jewel. "O Elaban! Hear the prayer from here your servant. He cures this young woman of her illness and lets her be free from those ills that have affected her since she was a child." A series of blue flames filled the room, causing the amazement of Paulana and Agnorak. Arian's jewel shone, and the gesture of the high priestess was transformed. In her eyes showed the confidence of someone who possessed great power, as it happened to her previously during the Battle of the Hill of Orda. "Elaban grants you your healing." As he finished these words, a huge amount of water fell into the fountain, splashing everyone present. Then there was a blue explosion that caused the appearance of a bluish vapor along with an innumerable number of bubbles. The chanting stopped. Everyone closed their eyes, as a thick mist spread throughout the room. When the atmosphere cleared and they opened their eyes, Arian was next to Tanya. Everyone was amazed since the malformations on her face had completely disappeared. Tanya saw her reflection in the water and began to cry. All her life she had been under the yoke of deformation and mockery, despised by her family, disinherited from the throne. Now he was free of all that. He hugged Arian, crying, "Thank you. Thank you. I swear on my life that I will be loyal to you and Elaban until the end of my days." Agnorak was impressed. If people came to know what Arian was capable of in the temple, millions would come. There was no one more powerful in all of Shanaris, no mags, no kings. Someone who is capable of healing almost any disease, capable of destroying hills, had a power almost worthy of the gods. They went to dinner to celebrate the dwarf's healing, then they went to sleep. Tanya fell asleep instantly. She was totally exhausted. Paulana, the self-absorbed, contemplated now that she did not have half of her face deformed, could see how really beautiful she was, something extraordinary in a dwarf since they were not usually especially graceful. The elf fell asleep. Agnorak couldn't sleep. Gosberg knew this would happen. He certainly wanted Tanya in her healthiest state possible, that's for sure. Arian had fulfilled his designs, but why? The half-orc didn't understand it, but it must have to do with the fact that the dwarf was of royal blood. Then he thought of Arian. How much power did he have? The kings and magicians of the council did not have the power of the priestess of Elaban. Sooner or later all of Shanaris would discover his real powers and what was going on inside the great temple. As soon as this happened, Arian could dominate any kingdom if she set her mind to it, as she would have legions of faithful devotees into eternity. But what plans would Arian have? It was a topic for the future. Whatever it was, surely many of those who currently dominated Shanaris would not be very happy with the great power that the high priestess settled in the cursed city gradually obtained. He let Paulana lie down in her bed, and since he wanted to let Tanya sleep alone in the bed that her two companions had to share. Agnorak decided to take a walk around the cursed city, as he could not sleep a wink. The night was pleasant, without a doubt. The city was in a prime situation with one of the most stable climates in Shanaris regardless of the time of year. Upon leaving the temple he found a couple sitting next to the temple door. They were Kush and Gosberg, who were quietly smoking while sharing a bottle of liquor. Surely the Denkga would have stolen it from the elves. Although they were not alone, a little further back, far from these two, was Sabu with his body fully stretched out on the stairs looking at the starry sky. The blue moon reigned that night, giving a bluish touch to the landscape. What a trio!